So far we have seen how to run the Chrome, Firefox, any driver, right? Okay. So what we'll do today, we'll stick on to just the Chrome or maybe just the Firefox. Let me make this 2 so that I get the Firefox, and let me just confirm if it is working fine. Yeah, I can see it's working. All right, it's working and it is able to maximize it. So let me close this. Okay, now today we'll be learning something called as locators in our Selenium. Okay, there are different types of locators and also different actions, and different actions will be performing on the locators. So it will be a series of actions and locator strategies we'll be learning. I'll try to cover as many locator strategies as possible so that in your next classroom, when Abhi talks about Selenium in general, you'll be able to relate all of it. All right.
Okay.
So to begin with, give me a minute. Give me 1 minute, please. Yeah, sorry guys, I was on mute. Yeah, yeah. So who all has some experience with Selenium before this classroom?
I just know it
Anyone?
on theory level, Vinod, not practically.
Mm-hmm. So who was it?
Deepika.
Deepika. Okay. Sabina, how about you? How much of experience do you have with Selenium?
Actually, I am from the previous batch, so I know quite now. Just left that batch due to some health issues.
Okay. Samira?
I have trained in Selenium, Vinod, before, so yes, I worked with the tools. Yeah, I
Okay.
have practiced with it.
Selvan, fine. Selvanandini?
In my previous project, I have a little bit work experience in Selenium.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's continue. So far we have learned how to launch a new browser. Okay, and with a particular URL, and we have learned.
Experience with the Selenium.
Sorry, Shweta, I didn't get you. Can you repeat your question?
So, Selvanandini has work experience before? Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay. So we have so far learned how to launch the web browser and with a particular URL, and how to maximize the browser. We have still not performed any actions on the web page, right? So today we'll see how do we start off with that. So first of all, we'll look at maybe login. Okay. I mean, let's see. Give me a minute. I want to open up a browser. Okay. First, let me go to salesforce.com. Okay. So I want a browser to open salesforce.com, and after it has opened it, I want to click on login. Okay. I want to do this operation, but I want to do it automatically. Okay.
Okay.
So first we have to open salesforce.com. So to do that, let me just take this whole URL. Let me go back to my code. Give me a minute. Yeah, I'm opening salesforce.com anyway. Okay, and I'm maximizing the window. After that, I need to get hold of this login here and click it. Correct?
Yes.
So what I'll do a right click on this, okay, and inspect. Okay. So actually, you can perform this on Chrome or Firefox or any browser. Okay. Almost all the browser will have your options to search for all investigate this, but I'll tell you what it is. But before I do that, as of now, I feel Firefox has some better options. Okay. So there are two versions of Firefox. One is Firefox and the other one is Firefox Developer Edition. Okay.
Okay.
So I have installed the Firefox Developer Edition, and it looks like this. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. It just looks like Chrome or a regular Firefox, but for developers particularly, it has some added features. Okay, so here let me open Sales. You remember you can do this in Chrome also. Okay, some features may be missing, but most of them are all available. All right, even in the Microsoft's what is that, Edge, any browser you will find this. Okay, so now let me go to Salesforce. Let me open up salesforce.com. Okay, and then after I do that, I'll go here, right click, do a inspect. Okay, when I do inspect, it opens up the inspect window like this, and let me make sure I'm here. Okay, you see this icon here, pick an element from the page.
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah, this will help you to pick elements. So if you select this, and then whichever element you choose here, element will be highlighted actually at the bottom. You see the inspect page, it is changing every time I move.
Yes.
So like that, this will help you. Or you can also right click and inspect. Both are same. Okay. So let me go to the login first. Now when I do that, I get this. It's actually anchor. You see this here
Yeah.
at the bottom? It is an anchor. So what I'll do, I need to get hold of a anchor, right? So here what I'll do, I'll right click, and does this have any ID? Class, it has.
No idea.
Let me check. Okay, it doesn't have an ID. It just has role. And give me a minute. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll right click, I'll copy. I'll copy maybe the CSS selector. Okay, I'll repeat what I did here. I did a right click, I did a copy, and I copied the CSS selector. Okay, after I do that, I can go back to my Eclipse. Here I can define something called as web element. Okay, web element, I can say login equal to driver dot uh, find element. Okay, inside this I can say by we copied the CSS selector, right? So I'll choose CSS selector. Okay,
Okay.
inside this I'll paste my CSS selector, whatever I copied. Okay,
Okay.
now this is giving error, so I need to import this, import web element from Selenium. Okay, now that I have this login, I can do a login dot click. Okay, shall we try this now?
Okay.
I'll repeat what I did here, but before that, let me run and confirm if it is working. It opened Firefox. Good. It is opening Salesforce. Okay, it is maximizing, and it did this. Did you see that step by step?
Yes.
Okay, so let me repeat what I did actually. Okay, so actually, we opened Salesforce.com and we wanted to perform an action on this web element. Okay, all the items what you see on the page is a web element. Okay, everything. Now that web element you need to perform some action on it, correct?
Yes.
And in this case it was click action, right?
Right.
So it the whatever you here we were taking example of this login button and doing a click. Now this could be a button, this could be anchor, this could be anything, right? You never know. So now you do a right click on this. I mean you want to get hold of this, right? So for that you do a right click here and you do I'm sorry you can do a inspect. That is one way. Okay, or I'll just close this. Close my Firefox. I'll go to the developer edition here. Yeah, in this page I'll explain. So I did a right click, I did an inspect. Or you can do the selector pick element and do the same. Okay, when you do, you will land up on this anchor. And you can also see when I have my cursor on this inspector here, it is actually highlighting on the right top. Just pay attention to the right top of the screen where login is actually highlighted. Do you see that?
Yes. Yes, Vinod.
So this way you can confirm that whatever you selector you have here, I mean whatever your cursor is pointing is the right option. So if I just move my cursor, you can see it keeps changing. You see that?
Just a minute, Vinod. In the right side, you are telling what I should be able to see. The login. Should I see what for the
Okay.
login?
Okay. I'll just move my cursor. Do you see my cursor right now on the login?
Yes, I do.
So pay
Right,
attention to this part. One
right.
minute. Pay attention to what I say now. On the right top, that is this part of the screen, there is login button, there is this user logo, and there is this globe symbol, right? These three things.
Yes,
Okay, pay attention here. Also, at the bottom here, now you see my cursor on the inspector. I'll just highlight. First, I showed you. I want you to pay attention this part.
yes.
Okay. Second, I want you to pay attention at this part. Okay, now
Okay.
both are related now. When I have my cursor on this inspector here, on the right side top, that is the login. Do you see it is highlighted in blue with that dotted lines?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
This is
On
the
the
inspect.
when
Yeah? This is the inspect element, and
yeah
here the cursor that is inspect.
yeah. So when I have my cursor on the inspect here, it is highlighting the related item. So
Okay.
you can confirm that by when I move this, you can see it is actually moving everything. Whichever I am selecting, it is selecting here. Are you seeing
Okay.
that?
Yes, I am able to see
So
that.
yeah,
Okay.
so
Thank
this feature is actually given by the Firefox Developer Edition. Okay,
only Firefox. Okay.
yeah. Chrome also has a similar feature, but it is better here. I mean,
Okay.
it's my personal experience, and personally, I prefer this.
Okay.
But you
Okay.
can go with anything. Okay, so when I have a hold of a login button now, which I need to click, right? So I can do a right click here, copy, and I can go with anything. For now, I'll go with CSS selector. Okay. When I did this copy, now into my clipboard, that is my whatever I've copied, I had actually copied this one. I'll just erase this and paste it again. See, that is what I had copied once you did the copy CSS selector. Okay, and because it is a CSS selector, I actually did a web login web element. This login is just a variable name. I can keep this ABC or anything. Now I need to get a web element, right? And driver dot find element will give us any web element. Let me do this again so you'll get idea. I did web element. I can do item one or something. Anything I can just give it any name. Then I can say driver dot find element. Okay, here in this find element, actually when you do a by dot, okay, you have eight eight selectors or eight locators location strategies in Selenium. All right, those are CSS name, I mean the class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, name, partial link text, and tag name and XPath. These are the ones. Okay. For now,
Eight
when
images, is it?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this is actually an interview question. How many locator strategies does Selenium have, and what are they? All right. So when you do a by dot here, you get that. Now in this case, we are using just one of it, that is CSS selector. You could have done anything, not just CSS selector. You could have done XPath, or whichever you use, the same ID you should put inside. So in this case, in our Firefox, if you remember, we actually did a right click here. We did a copy, and we copied the CSS selector. Correct? If we do the XPath, we should copy the XPath. So let me do that also. I copy the XPath and I go back to my code. Okay. And this time, instead of CSS selector, I can say XPath. Okay. And now the XPath expression, I can give it like this. Okay. See the, give me a minute. Yeah. Here, now I have given the XPath. Do you see that? Now this one I can say item1 dot click. Okay, let me comment this part, and now I'm running this. So previously you could see that when I did it with CSS selector, it was working fine. Shall we try it with the XPath?
Yes.
Okay. See, it is opening. Let's wait. Okay. Did you see it is already clicked the login,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So this way we could see that we can use CSS selector or XPath or any location strategy, but
No,
whichever
I'm
location.
not able to see that it has clicked login. Nothing is showing for me. For
I'll
anybody,
show you.
everybody.
No. I'll show you what happened. Now, actually, we got the element, and soon after we got the element, I just did the click. So what I'll do here, I'll do a thread.sleep. Okay, maybe I'll give a 4 seconds delay. Okay, and this is asking for try catch. I'll just say surround with try catch. Okay, let me run it now. Now we will be able to see. Now it's opening. Now you can see login page. Now 4 seconds it will wait, and then it should click on login. Yeah, it clicked on login. Now are you okay?
Yes, now I'm okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So last time also you did that, but it was immediate, so you couldn't see it. All right. So now the point is that now we were able to. I'll just quit all the existing. Every time you run this, every time a new browser will open up. I mean a new browser instance. Okay. So now you could see that we are able to open a particular URL, take control of a particular web element, and perform action on it. This is all we do in web, right? All we do, if you want to use Facebook, you open up a browser, go to the particular URL, and start performing operations. Like you click, you type, you do right click, you do save as, whatever. Everything is action. All those things are actions. And whatever wherever you perform that, like you do it on a radio button, or you do it on a drop down, or you do it on a link, or a button, or text box. All these things are web elements, correct?
Yeah.
So anything in web is actually related to, I mean, it circles around these three things only. You need to get hold of a web element, and you need to perform actions on it.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yes, Vinod. So
Yeah.
web element is like a variable for WebDriver, is it, for Selenium WebDriver, for us to store values?
Um, Web element is actually any element on the page. Anything on the page is a web element. It could be an image, it could be a text box, it could be a button or anything. It becomes a web element. Now,
Okay.
to get a web element, Selenium helps us with different location strategies. So let me go back to my code and explain that. So web element is anything on the page. Now, how do we get a web element here? By doing a driver.find element. Okay, and to find the particular element, we have different location strategies. One is XPath, one is CSS selector. We saw other location strategies also, right?
Yeah.
Those will go through one by one when we work on it. Okay. For now, you just understand that what is a web element, what is a driver. Web driver is nothing but what is controlling the web page, right? And web element is any element inside the page. It could be a button, text box, anything. And how do you get hold of a particular element? By finding it from a driver.find element. And there are 8 different ways to find it. Am I making sense, everyone?
Yeah, yes, Vinod.
All right. Yeah. Give me just 1 minute. All right. Yeah. So we performed a click on the login using 2 different location strategies here. One is using CSS selector, another is using XPath. These are the 2 main ones. Okay. Other than this, you can also use by ID if you have a ID of the element. You have by ID, right? So you by class name would actually give you the uh, the particular elements, all the elements having this particular class name. All right.
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah. Let me just do this. Yeah. But find element, there are 2 things. One is find element and other one is find elements. Singular and plural. Okay. Do you see this? One is find element and another one is find elements.
Yes.
Everyone, do you see that? One will give just one web element, other will give list of web elements. Okay. This is because sometimes when you write your locators, you may be expecting multiple. Like, what if I want to have all the buttons in the page? What if I want to have all the text box in the page? You can do that also. Okay. So when working on the examples, we'll see them. Okay. Now the basic concept is you get the web, you go to a web page, you get a web element on it, and then perform actions on it. Actions could be click, right click, enter, type, all such things. All right.
Yes.
All right. So let's continue now. Give me a minute. Okay. So now we saw how to do click, right? Let's see how to do how to enter user ID and password. Now we perform click action. Next, we need to type in some user ID and password and click login. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me say I want to do Vinod here, some password ABC or something, and I want to click on login button. Okay. Now it will say all these things. Okay, I'll just say don't say. It will say it's an incorrect user ID password. Correct?
Yeah.
Now what
Yeah.
I'll do, just like I did before, I can right click on this, inspect. Okay. Or I can click this and select whichever I want. Do I want this? Do I want this? Do I want this? So here I want this. Okay. So I'll right click here, copy. Okay. And I can say, uh, I can go with let's go with the CSS
Vinod,
selector. Mm-hmm.
Vinod, you should you got those dotted lines when you kept your cursor on
Mm-hmm.
username password. No,
Mm-hmm.
can you please put your cursor on username and password, please? Now it's not coming. Oh, okay. If you click that button, inspect.
Yeah.
That's the
You
inspect
you
button.
have to click on this button. Pick the element from the page.
Okay. Thank you.
Then only you'll get this. Okay. Yeah. And now I want this one. So I got it here as an input. So you can see that, okay, yeah, here. It is an input with ID username,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. And now what we'll do, we'll just right click here, copy CSS selector, copy the CSS selector, go back to our Eclipse. Okay. After clicking and all doing all this, maybe I can give another thread dot sleep. I'll just pay. Okay, before I do that, I can do a web element. I can say this to be a username equal to driver dot find element by CSS selector. Okay, and I can paste the CSS selector. Okay, now because this has ID, the CSS selector is very short. It is just saying hash username. I'll explain the CSS selector later, but for now, whatever has been copied there, I just pasted it here. Okay, now I can say username dot, I can do send keys. This is also an action. Okay, send keys, and I can say here whatever keys I want to send. Vinod. Okay, on the same lines, I can do, I'll just copy this again, and this time I'll say pwd for password. Okay, and for password, it is right click, inspect. There is a password. Right click, copy, and CSS selector. Go back here. I'll replace this CSS selector with the new CSS selector, that is hash password, and I'll give some ASDF, some password. Okay, so you can see this has an ID of password. That's why here in our CSS selector it came as hash password. All right. Now I can do a after this, what I can do is I can go here and then right click here, inspect. I need the login button, right? Here this has the ID of login, and this is the input. So I can do a right click, copy again CSS selector. You can do a CSS selector or export or anything. Okay, I'm just preferring that. That's all. Okay, web element login BT, and I'll just name it like this: driver dot find element. I can say by CSS selector, and I can give this okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll do a login button dot click. Okay, and maybe let's put some sleep here. After it loads this page, I'll have a 2-second sleep. Okay, let me run this. It should open Firefox. It will go to salesforce.com, and after it loads, it will click on login after 4 seconds. Now, after 2 seconds, it should be able to see. Okay, it was printing both on username itself. Did you see that?
Yes.
The reason it did that because we did a mistake here. We took a password, but we sent the key to username. We should do it to PWD, correct? Yeah. If we do this and okay, I'll just give 1 more second delay here so that we can see what is happening in between. Okay, I'll just make this 1 second, make this 1 second, and here also I'll just wait for 1 second so it doesn't annoy us. I'll run it again. Now it's expanding, then it should click login, then it should enter username password. After a second it clicked. Is this clear to everyone how we did this automation?
Yes, Vinod. I have a question. So for these username and password elements, because we know the ID, we can just
Mm-hmm.
use the ID as the
Locator. Yes, you can do that.
locator also. So
Yes,
we
yes,
can
you
just
can do
do
it.
it.
Hmm.
And is it required to use different web elements for each of these, or we can just create one web element and keep modifying it for every step?
After you modify, it is by reference, right? So after you modify, if you perform any action, it will perform on the new element, not on the old element.
Yeah,
So
because
if I,
for
yeah,
example,
see, it is as good as telling int I equal to 1, int j equal to 2, int k equal to 3. Now I, j, k are three different. If you want to use three different, you can use I, j, k. If you want to use just one and keep changing the values, you can do it. No one stops you. It is nothing to do with Selenium. It's object-oriented programming.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can keep changing the web element, actual web element selected
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
I
you
want
can.
to. Hmm.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Vinod, do we have to put try and catch in every thread sleep? Thread dot sleep?
Yeah. And or easiest solution would be, I'll just remove this try catch here.
Will it give
Uh,
like error or something if you don't put try
it will
and
give
catch?
you a error that
Oh,
you have to have a try catch, or you can add a throws declaration. If I do this throws declaration, it will add this throws in interrupted exception. Okay, it will
oh,
just add
okay.
this, and after that, you need not add try catch every time. So if I remove the try catch of the previous one, now it should not give any error. Okay, do you see it? Now it's okay with the try catch.
Yeah.
I mean without the try catch also. I'll do that everywhere. So this is the easy solution. All right.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Give me a minute. Someone has a question. Preeti. Yeah, Preeti, I have unmuted you, and Lalita as well. I have unmuted.
Uh, for a question about the developer edition, Vinod, do we need to uh, give a separate setting so it opens that particular browser in Firefox so we get the developer edition at the bottom?
When you're downloading Firefox, you would have an option to download Firefox. I mean, just Google search for Firefox Developer Edition and download it and install. That's all. It's like just a normal browser.
So what happens to the old version? Do we have to uninstall that or remove?
No, you can keep it parallelly.
Oh, okay. Because when
Yeah,
I try
it
to
just
open
behaves
it,
like two different.
it opens only the old version and the new version doesn't get opened. So,
If you're using WebDriver, it will open the regular Firefox.
oh,
Developer Edition is just to help you with developing code.
oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move on now. Give me a minute.
Yeah, actually, Vinod, my question was the same thing that try catch, you have to use it for every web element that is answered.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, let me go back to this page. Okay, next I would like to do some operations. For that, give me a minute. I don't see any radio buttons here. Okay, let me go to a different URL then. Okay, let's say keynote support.com. Keynote. This whatever we are doing is nothing to do with um, the salesforce.com or anything. It works just fine on any page, on Facebook page or anything. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, Vinod.
Vinod, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is not, I'm not sure whether it is relevant or I can ask it now or not. But sometimes, they ask that, if the web element is under development, how do you write or, how do you write the code, something like that. So how can we answer that?
Sorry, what is your question? I didn't get your question.
See, now the login web element is available and we are able to get the property of that and we are doing it, right? We are able to automate that. But in case if the application is under development, so
See, how do you use the application under development? You cannot, right? But still,
yeah,
if you really want to do it, you have to talk to your developer team, talk to them. What are they going to use it? What ID they would be giving? Because only after it is developed, you can inspect it and see what are the IDs being used. But if it is under development, you can ask them, okay, give me your IDs for username, give me ID for password, and then you can use it. Correct?
yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is a different. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, today in the workshop we did know I am having some error in Eclipse when I am trying to do WebDriver. Will you help me at the end of the session, because until Monday, if I will not have any, otherwise I will not, I will have problem. That's
Okay.
why. Thank you.
Let me see that. Okay. I will discuss that at the end of the session.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Actually, Sunday we have, right? Sunday evening.
Sunday evening,
Um,
session is there, but workshop is
Session is there.
Oh,
Workshop is not there.
yeah.
famous.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Okay. Would you prefer a workshop on Sunday?
No.
Okay. Okay then. Fine. Not an issue. All right. So I have to open a different browser. Okay. Different URL. I opened this URL just because I wanted some radio button, some page with radio button, so that I can show you how to use it. So now we have a radio button here. I can do a right click here. Same inspect again. Now this will give you the radio button here. So you can see that this is a span inside which you have a input, and the name of the input is software, and the value is Excel. Okay, do you see this?
Yes,
That is the first Microsoft Excel. So what I can do here is I can just do a name, right? I know that the name is software. I'll just copy the software, go back to my Eclipse. Okay, now let me, okay, before I do anything else, I'll just comment this. Okay, now I'll just do this, copy this again, because I have commented, because you need to have it again to see it yourself. Now I'll just put a radio button. Okay, I'll do the same thing here. I'll do this here. This is a new URL. I'll copy this URL. I'll change this to this new URL. I did this because Salesforce doesn't have a ready button, that's all. Then I took a copy of software, and I need a web element. Okay, and I can get a radio button equal to driver find element. Okay, this time I can go with by dot name and just give the name. Okay, and then I can say radio button dot click. Correct?
Yes.
But this will not work. I'll tell you why. First, let us execute this. It opened up this, and it went here. Okay, it did work fine. It has clicked the Microsoft link. So okay, but that is not right. I'll tell you why it is not right. I'll just close this.
Vinod, one question, Vinod.
Shall I finish first?
Okay.
Now, actually, you can see that we have 4 different radio buttons. And in case of a radio button in HTML, the syntax is that all the radio buttons will have the same name. You see this? This also software, this also software.
Yeah.
Just the value is changing. Correct?
Yes.
So, we have 4 different. And just because Microsoft Excel was the first one, it took that. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, instead of taking just the web element, we can take web elements. Okay, and we can make this list of web element. Okay, so and change this to maybe give a new name, radio button list. Okay, then instead of just clicking this for list, I need import java util. Okay, now here I can do radio button list, sorry, dot get maybe the first name and then click it. Okay, I can do this. Or this time, let's go to the third element and click it. All right. See, now because it's zeroth index, third elements means Adobe Photoshop, and that is selected. Do you see that?
Yes.
So this way we can control radio buttons. Okay. And if in case if you want to read it, okay, that time what you can do is you can also say radio button list dot get maybe the second item and say dot is selected. Okay, you can do this like if this is selected, this is out, second element is selected, something whatever you want. All right, so let me make it 3 so that I know that 3 is already selected. So let me run this. Now at the end of it, our console should print it. It selected the third one. Okay, now if I go back to my Eclipse, you can say send element is selected. All right, clear to everyone?
Vinod, is the third element is send element, or the value is it has to be
No,
printed?
actually, I see. This is just a statement I printed.
Oh,
Anything, yeah, anything
oh,
you
I
just
thought.
was is selected. No, I printed it right. I mean, that was a typo mistake. Ignore that.
No. I thought maybe the name of the third element, that is, Windows or that value,
No, no,
I
no,
thought it
nothing.
will be printed.
Mhm. I mean, we didn't get it, so it won't print it. So,
Oh,
yeah, but you can do many things on this. You can, if as and when you need to see, you have equals, you have, you can also get values, but let's not go there here. You can see it has get text also.
yeah.
So there are many operations. I just showed you some of them. Okay, so when you want to do actual testing, right, that time you will come up with the questions and see if there is any functions available for it. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Next, let's go for drop down. Okay, let
Question.
me comment this. Now let's see drop down. Okay, to see the drop down, let me go back to my developer
Hello,
edition. See,
can you hear me?
sorry, what is the question?
Yeah, so quick question. I didn't understand the web element keyword over here which you commented.
Line
Can
number?
In a Java perspective as to what it is, it's like it's a different class.
Can you tell me the line number, Chandana?
Okay, line number 71. Web element login detail executable driver.panel.
Tell me what you didn't understand here.
Uh, from a Java perspective, I'm trying to understand if this is a class and we are creating an object and trying
Fine.
to utilize the drivers.
Tell me what you didn't understand.
Well, I haven't been exposed to Selenium. This is the first time, so I don't understand uh, about the web element. Like, is it like a class that we're trying to create an instance of and use it here?
No, it is actually a predefined class which is defined by Selenium. Web element is a class which is defined by Selenium. Now, what is string? Did you define string? No, right? Java has defined it. On the same lines, web element is defined by Selenium. When you say string s equal to something, string is defined by Java. Now, when you say web element, you remember it was giving undefined error. Then we imported Selenium and it worked fine.
Okay,
So
and
web element is defined by Selenium.
driver is another predefined function.
Do you see? Have I used it like a function here? I've used it like a variable, right?
Yeah.
So it is a variable defined inside our Selenium. So if you see driver here, driver we declared it as a web driver. This we did yesterday itself. Okay. So you think about yours it again and then ask me the question. Okay.
Okay.
It's straightforward. I would say. Okay. Moving on. Let's move to drop down. So coming to the drop down, let me go to the drop down here. So for that, let me go to Amazon. Okay. Let me go to the Amazon page, home page. Here we have a drop down, right? This is a drop down, correct? Deepika, are you still with me?
Yes, we know.
Yeah. So this is a drop down, right? In Amazon page. So let's try to control this. So maybe I want to do something like I want to select the second item here, maybe as Amazon fashion or something. Okay. So first I'll have to launch this page, then click on that and select the second item. Shall we do that?
Yes.
Okay. For that, let me go back here, and this time I'll say driver dot. I'll say get a new URL. Okay. Then again I'll say next. I don't. Let's not maximize. Let it be as it is. Then I can this time say web element. Web element. This time I'll say drop down or something is equal to driver dot find element. I'll find it by XPath this time. Okay, and let's go back here. Let's go to our. Let me refresh this. Let me right click inspect, and this has a ID. So because this has ID, let's go with instead of copying the XPath and putting it there, or let's do that. Copy XPath. Okay, and let me go here, paste it. This is XPath. Okay, then now let's create a for drop downs. We need to create an element by name select. Okay, I'll say select our I can name it as yes equal to new select. Okay, and we'll send in our drop down. Okay. Select any is undefined, so I need to import it from Selenium. Now I can do operations like s dot select by index. I can select the second item. Okay. So we don't have a select by index directly on a web element. So we have to convert a web element into a select object. That is a drop down. Do you get it?
Yes, Vinod.
You can also see that there is a select element. Do you see it here? There is a select element. So
Yeah.
select element is actually derived from web element. Okay. It is kind of a hierarchy, but let's not worry about what is its parent, what is its child, nothing. Let's not go there. All we need to know is we need a select element, because web element by default gives options like click, copy, get text and all those things, but it doesn't give select element by index. So it works only on select. So for that select, I did a select of select, created a new select with a drop down as my I sent it to the constructor. So that gave me a select, and I did a select with 2. Let's
So,
see this in
Vinod,
action.
is select a subclass of web element? It implements or something
That's
like
what I
that?
told. It could be, it could not be. Let's not worry about its hierarchy.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that did not work.
So when we do this for the drop down, when we do it, it will return only one web element. Because in case of radio button, it returned an array, so we create a list, right? So can we do something
Yeah.
like a list and then pass that to the select element?
If you want multiple select elements, you need to. But in my case, it is only single select element. If you
Okay.
actually go to the developer edition here, it is only one select. Inside the select, there are different options, but only one select. So I don't have a yeah. So this time, why is it not working? Let me inspect this. Let me do by XPath. Fine. Everything looks good. But why didn't it select? It should have done this. Clicked it. Okay, let's try it again. Search drop-down box. Search drop-down
We need
box.
to click there.
Hmm?
After going there, we have to click, I think.
Is it?
Isn't
Let
that?
me check. No, I'm just getting hold of it and selecting. It should work. Select by index. Maybe shall I give a sleep here?
Yes.
1 second. Let me try it again. Okay.
In line 97, should we give dot click there for it after
I don't think it is needed. Let me make sure.
No, it's not needed. Can you check for the expert, whether it is correct
The
or not?
express is also correct.
Mhm.
The page took some time to load, so I've given 5 seconds delay.
It selected all, I think. Because I saw there is some.
I think we need to click on that all, no, Vinod, to get the drop down as in.
Okay, let's try that as well. Why not? We have a driver here. I can say dd dot
Click.
click.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens now. Something is wrong. What is wrong? Right click, inspect. This is a select, and I'm trying to click the select. What could be wrong? I think it could be the XPath. Let me check. I think we need not have this star here. Okay, we'll see this. If it doesn't work, we can use by ID instead of this one. Let's use by ID. Okay. Let's wait 5 seconds. No, it's not working. So let me do it by ID. Okay. I'll change this to by ID. And for ID, I just need to pass the ID, right? I don't need all this extra there. But I'll just put this much. Okay.
Okay.
Something is wrong here. So
Vinod, I think that particular drop down comes within a frame or something in Amazon. Maybe for that you're not able to click.
but still it should work. Give me one. But okay. Okay, let's do instead of a select. The click is also not working. That's what I'm wondering. Okay, let's do this. Select. We have different options to select. So we'll say select by maybe visible text. This option. And maybe we want to search for something by name baby. We have an option there, right? I hope we do have. See this baby here? Let's try to select this. For append Eclipse. I'll just check my code once. Mhm. Something is wrong here. I don't know what. Do next. Okay, maybe we'll revisit this later. The drop down is not working. Let's move on. Let's see other items because I don't want to stop here. All right.
Okay.
I'll maybe you can try it with different options. If something works, you can let me know on Monday. Sunday, Abhi will be taking class, so I'll be back on Monday. So Monday, you can let me know what worked and what didn't work. You can try out different options. Okay. Try to see Google search, see why drop down the select is not working, and try to make this work. Is that okay?
Okay, Vinod.
All right. Let me just close this. Okay. Next thing, next what we want to say is maybe let's see mouse over. Okay. So to do that, let's do a mouse over on anything like here. See, I don't need to click, but when I do a mouse over of any of these items, I can see something popping up, right?
Yeah.
So let me try this try prime. Right click, inspect element. Okay, this is the one. So if I bring my cursor here, this is the whole anchor. Right click and copy. We can copy the CSS selector. Go back to our Eclipse. Okay, this time I'll just comment this much because it's the same thing. So now we are trying for mouse over with same URL. So I'll get web element. This time it's anchor a equal to driver dot find element. I'll say by dot. This time we can go for a we did copy CSS selector, right? Yeah, paste it right here, and then this time we after we have the web element, we need to perform action on it. So we'll declare something called as action. Action. This time I'll say action equal to new action, or it's actually actions. I'll import it from Selenium. Then I'll say new actions, and I'll say this time I want to pass the driver. Okay, because we are performing action, any actions on the whole web page, you can declare it like this. Okay, now we want to perform a particular action on our this web element, right? So I'll say action dot move to element. Okay, and I'll say this time this particular a we want to move it here. Then we want to do a build, and we'll say perform. Okay, for every action you have to do a build and perform at the end. Okay, this is the syntax. So let's try this and see if it is working. It should open Amazon. Wait for 5 seconds, and yeah, you see that the try is highlighted. My cursor is still on the left. I did not move my cursor, but it actually automatically moved it there, and it brought up that mouse over. Did you see that, everyone?
Yes, Vinod.
Okay. All right. So moving on.
No, actually, I couldn't see. I don't know why it's not showing properly for me. Can you once again execute it, please?
What didn't you see?
The mouse over. Actually, is it going
Do
to
you see
try
that?
prime?
No, the mouse is not moving. Only the try prime is highlighting that. Do you see that? Amazon Prime window has opened up.
I see that. Okay.
Yeah, that is what everyone's on.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Okay.
You don't see it because everything is automated. I'm not touching anything. It is happening by itself.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Next thing I want to tell you is yeah, about we want to talk about the CSS selector. Okay, now we have seen enough examples about the CSS selector, right? If you want to write the CSS selector manually, the syntax I'll just explain it to you. Okay, if you do a hash, I'll just comment it here so that it doesn't confuse. If you do a hash is used for ID. Okay, like we did here. All right, and if this if you do a dot, this is used for class name or name. Okay, this is just for your understanding, but always you can do a right click, select, copy the CSS selector. Okay, and there is one more. that is for tag name. Tag name is nothing but your element. So if you say button, okay, it will select all the buttons. If you say button, then with particular class name, like button, maybe login. Okay, here you are expecting login button to be the ID of that web element, which is a of type button. Tag name is nothing but whatever name it comes as. So in our case, this A is the tag name here, and div is the tag name here, script is the tag name here. These are all tag names. I explained that during the HTML, right? What is a tag name?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can have a tag name followed by hash is for ID, and dot is for class name or the name. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. Okay, coming back to our previous example, let's try to do it manually now. Okay, I'm just commenting this.
Hash is for ID or hash is for CS selector? CSS selector.
In CSS selector, these are the different types.
Okay.
Here I have given a hash, right? Because it is ID. If this particular thing is a class name, it wouldn't have worked. Correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So let me go back. Let me comment this. Okay, and I hope I'm recording. Yes. Okay, let me go back to our where did we do our Salesforce? Yeah, here. Let me uncomment the Salesforce, and inside the Salesforce, let's do some operations. Okay. This time, what we'll do? Let's not. Okay. Let me go back to my Firefox. This is our Salesforce. Let me click on the login and right click, inspect. This time I won't copy the CSS selector. Instead, I'll just copy the username. Okay. What I'll do, there is, oh, it's already done. Yeah. See, I just wanted to do this part. I'll just show you. I have my Salesforce open. After that, this is not needed. We can do a sleep, no issues. Then, yeah. For the login does not have ID, right? If you remember, our login here, if I go back, this element, the login element, does not have ID.
Yes.
So for that reason, I had to do a thing. If you want, it has class name, drop down toggle, disable, but these are not good tag names, which I can tell you by experience. So let's not go by, it's not preferred to go by class name if the same class is being used in multiple web elements. You cannot decide on, see, for example, why is the class name used? To give some colors, styles, and everything, right? So if you have a class which is going to give you the blue color, and if it is used across 10 elements, and then if you get all the find elements 10 and do get me the fifth element, your code may go wrong very soon. If they introduce something else there, and if that also has to be blue, the developer will just go make the changes. Correct?
Yes.
So when he makes the changes, still your code should work. If it is failing, then your code is not good. So try to avoid first preference, go for ID, because if the user developer has given the ID, most probably he won't change it. Okay, if you don't have ID, go for the XPath. And if the other solution to XPath is, you can go with the next option, that is class name. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Moving on, I just wanted to bring up this because I did not, I mean, last time I did a copy XPath to get this, right? Or the CSS selector, sorry, not the, when I did a copy CSS selector, it copied this. But I need not have done this. So what I mean is, when I do a login, right click, inspect element, here I can do a right click, copy, CSS selector, right? If I do a CSS path, you can see, I'll just show you. This is the CSS path that it will come from starting from the HTML, inside HTML, inside body, this div, inside that div, there is another div, there is another div. It will give the whole path hierarchy, and finally it will reach username. Okay, but if this is trouble because if in case if something happens in between, if they introduce something new in between, your solution would break. So try avoiding such things. The best would be go with ID, and you can directly say hash username. Are you able to get what I mean here?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Vinod, so now we have the web element and actions, and there is a select. So,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything like this basic set of classes that we should know?
Whatever I'm showing you is basic. That much is good enough.
Yeah, I get it, but is there anything like a list of things like this? Because
I don't have it. I don't have a list. So whatever I'm showing you here is the basics. If you know need anything extra, say suppose tomorrow you get some different control which I have not shown. Google it. It will be straightforward just like this. Whatever I'm showing you here is straightforward, right? I don't think it's much complex. Do you agree?
yeah,
Yeah. So on the same lines, if you have some new controls, just Google search and whatever they say in the Google search, you will be able to map it to what we have done here.
okay.
Yeah.
Vinod,
Mm-hmm.
Can I?
okay,
Okay, please go ahead. I'll tell you.
okay, Vinod, you told it's a good idea to use CSS selector over CSS path, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so how about XPath, Vinod? Even that will change, right? As in, we don't have anything called XPath
See,
select.
if it is a very huge XPath, then it means you are depending on many things. If one of it breaks, everything will break. If it is a short XPath, you're good. No issues. All I
So
mean to say that
out of
don't
those
have
eight,
a hierarchy.
okay.
Try to avoid hierarchy. These things actually, Abhi or someone would cover it when he gives more example on it. Right now, we are only concerned about locators. So we are trying different locators. Let's not go into that point now. Okay?
What exactly is next path there?
XPath.
Sorry?
What exactly?
XPath is nothing. XPath is nothing but a way of selecting a particular element in a web page. In there's a web development terminology where XPath means path to that particular element.
What about XPath versus CSS path? What difference? CSS is that
See, I would say that you would be getting some assignments after maybe a couple of days of some more training on Selenium. Okay, that time you yourself will experience which is good and which is bad. That would be better because it is dependent. It depends on the scenario. It is now. It is never. If I tell you, is a two-wheeler better or is a four-wheeler better? Tell
okay,
me.
depends upon traffic.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on the scenario where you want to use it. So once you have some experience on writing test cases and automating them, you will be able to come up with your own decisions. All right?
Vinod, can I add one point here?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah, see, Sweta, in a web page, you will have number of web elements, and we can't say like all the web elements are designed in the same manner, and all your attributes, say like your CSS or XPath or ID or name, everything will be stable. Because if developer thought like if he want to change something, he will change, and it's their decision, right? So in order, as an automation tester, we need to identify elements. So we have option, different options to get hold of the elements. So we when we come across I mean writing different elements, we may find sometimes XPath won't allow, or XPath will be not I mean effective to hold that element. That time we will go for CSS. CSS is like I mean sometimes my element attribute is not there. With the style which it's applied to that element, I can capture that style
Element,
and
element what?
element.
No. What did you say?
uh, I mean, sometimes with the XPath, we are unable to capture the element. Elements attributes, say like a name, ID, I mean, tag name is there, right?
Uh-huh.
That and all will not efficient to hold that element sometimes.
Okay. Okay.
That time, we will capture the style. Each element will have some styles, right? With that style,
Yeah.
and we can get hold of that element. Its simple
Okay.
logic is we need to identify the element, and we
See,
need to perform some
it
action
is
in
just
that
a
element.
okay. 1 minute, Selenium. So what
Yeah.
she actually means to say that the particular selector, that is the locator, right?
Yeah.
You have different locators, different options to choose a web element. Okay, it could be ID, it could be name, it could be anything, it could be class name. There are different ways. So it is as good as telling, if I ask you to go to New York from wherever you are, there is no just one way. You can go by multiple routes, right? But logically, your brain is capable of deciding which is the best route. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Even
on the different
sometimes
scenario basis,
due to
1 minute,
weather, you can't.
Selenium, let me
Yeah.
complete 1 minute.
Yeah.
On the same lines, now you can get hold of the web element in different ways. It could be by ID, it could be by class name, it could be by XPath, many things. Okay, but you also have to make sure your code is future proof, because every time the developer keeps changing it, you should not keep changing your code. That is a inefficient way of doing it, right?
Okay.
Correct.
So on that basis, you have to decide which is good. And I think once you have a little bit of experience, maybe another 3-4 classes, you would be able to decide yourself. Because XPath is very prone to change as developer keep changing. Do you
First,
agree
first is
on that
ID,
line?
then XPath, then CSS selector.
No, that's what I'm telling. Is a car always better than a bike?
Okay, I understand.
So on your experience, you would gain it. So don't worry about what is better, what is not better. The
Okay.
only thing I can guarantee you is ID is always better, because there will be only one ID in a given page. So you are pretty sure nothing is going to break. Other than that, everything else can change
Okay,
and
Vinod.
will change during development. So for others, I would say keep it open. Depending on the scenario, depending on the test case you're working on, you have to choose the wise one.
Okay, Vinod. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So your common sense will help you in choosing the right option. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's keep it there. All right. So moving on. Give me a minute. Next, we'll learn about some dynamic selectors. Okay. Um, okay. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. In Selenium, we have, okay, let me create something new here. Let's close this thing here. Save. Let me source, right click, new. I'll say a package. I'll say okay. I'll do it inside the day2. Right click, new class. I can call it as maybe my entry again. finish it here. This out. Just confirm if it is working. Yeah, it's all good. Now here, I'll just let's do some dynamic selectors. Okay. What is a dynamic selector? Dynamic selectors are something which, say, now we discussed that developers, when they are working, they usually do changes and that breaks our testers code, right?
Yes.
Correct? So dynamic selectors will help you avoid it. Okay, let's see how. It's not like it will always avoid it. It will help you in designing better. Let's keep it that way. Okay, so there are different dynamic selectors. One is starts with. Okay, the next is contains. Okay, next is following. Okay, then we have preceding. Okay,
Okay.
clear? Yeah.
Yes.
So now in CSS, actually, in CSS selector, whenever we say star, that means it is starts with, and whenever we say this symbol, that is the one above the numeric 6, that is actually for contains. Okay, whenever you did a right click CSS path, right, copy the CSS path, all this was done already for you. So now I'm just giving you some hint there. So now we'll see where all we'll use it. Okay, for that, let's not write some code, but instead we will see how to do it. Let me show you what I mean. Go back to Firefox, I mean here, and open salesforce.com. Okay, I'm on this page. Now I want to inspect this particular item. Okay, that will give us input ID, right?
Yes.
Now I can do a right click, copy CSS path, correct? And let's see what does it give. I'll go back to my Eclipse here. I'll just paste it. This gives us a relative path, correct? Now let's see the next option. Right click. Okay, here I can do a right click, copy CSS selector. This will give something like this. See, it is giving directly hash because it has an ID, correct? Then next I'll do a copy, sorry, not here, right click, copy XPath. Okay, now let's compare this. So here in XPath, it is actually giving star and this ID. So it is basically telling any tag name with this particular ID. That is what it is. Okay, but uh, these are the not these three options are not the only one. Okay, there are other options as well. I'll show you what are those options. Okay, the first one being, okay, before I do that, you see the search option here, the search HTML.
Yes, Vinod.
So this search option will actually give you help you to search any web element. Okay, so what I mean is, you know that, okay, let me click on this. We are right somewhere in autocomplete right now. Okay, now if I do a hash here and tell we want username, right? See, username here, and say enter. See, it selected the username for us. Did you see that?
Yes,
Yes,
Vinod.
no? So basically the search is actually helping you. I mean, what we did so far is we selected the item and we right clicked and copied something,
Right.
right? Now, this is the opposite way where we do our code and then that helps us to search it. So what I mean here is when we do a hash username, it will help us to select it here. Okay, the reason we are doing it is because I'm going to teach you something like a dynamically, and that will help you handle it. Okay, give me 1 minute, I'll explain what I mean. Now the same thing I can also, instead of hash username, I can say go by experts. I can say input, which is a tag name, correct?
Yes.
Inside that I need ID. It's small in size. I don't understand. Give me. I'll expand it once again. ID equal to username. That is also going to select the same. Do you see this? I put a input ID, and I'll just. Do you see that?
Yes.
And if I give it other extra log or something, the next one, I think extra log is hidden. Maybe the password. Okay. If I just change this username to password and do a search, see the password is selected. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Now the dynamic option comes here when I say if I say user name, right? The username is selected, correct? Now if I just say user, the user would not be selected because the ID is not there, correct?
Yeah.
But using dynamic, I can say here
Start.
star, and this will give you all elements that start with user. Are you getting the point here? So if there are multiple, all the items would be selected. Okay. So to do that, let me see this, if I get something class label. Okay. We have two elements with class label. See, password. This is highlighted. Do you see that highlighted password? And do you see the highlighted username? Both these are coming with class label, right? What I'll do, let me change this user ID to class equal to
Label.
label. Okay, enter. I think I cannot do this. How do we do it for class? How do we do it for class? Let's do it with dot. Oh, sorry. Or did I do spelling mistake? No, the spelling is correct. So let me do a dot. Maybe
Label.
okay.
Mm.
So it is just highlighting the first one. But I just want to tell you that it should have actually given more. For some reason, it is not. Okay, but in Selenium, when you try the same, okay, by class, it will actually give you more options. All right. So, for example, if you have username and user password, in this case, what is the ID here? Let me just do a control Z. Yeah. Remember this thing here. Input ID star equal to user. If you had another text box with the ID as user name and another one as user ID, both of them starting with user, right? That time this particular selector will return you more than one. Is that okay? Do you get my point here?
Yes, sir.
There is an other, I mean, above that input, there is another ID called username group. It should have selected that also.
Where is it?
Username container, username group.
This
So it
one.
also starts with user, yeah.
Okay. Why is it not doing that? Okay, let's try the name group. Yeah.
So maybe type is input, like we are
Yeah,
selecting
that's
only.
right.
Okay.
If I give the star, then maybe it will do that. Or I'll just
Or
try this. Give me.
double plus, yeah.
copy CSS selector. Okay, copy maybe XPath. I'll just go with this username, copy XPath. Why is this not returning?
It's LD, Vinod. Only D is copied.
Sorry, what is copied?
Only D. I can see only D, right? As in after at the rate. There is.
No,
Is
it
there?
is both ID.
Okay, I can't see. Okay.
This is all right, but maybe the search is not working fine. But if you actually, let me keep this as an assignment. Okay, I want you to try this. So what I mean to say that previously I gave you an example of ID star equal to user, right? That was for input. So in this case,
Vinod?
See black screen.
Yeah. Vinod, are you there?
Something has gone wrong, I think.
hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Vinod.
We can hear you.
Give me a minute. Sorry, actually, my system ran out of power and it shut down all of a sudden. I didn't realize that. So I've just connected it back. So, okay, can we continue now?
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah, as I was saying, the next option is for dynamic, right? So
Vinod, can you once try ID star? That's not working. If you give any part of username.
um, let me try.
Input of ID star equal to name or user something.
Input of
ID star equal to within that you can give user or name or something. Yeah.
this is giving username, but when I say this is giving user,
Yeah. Before what you
We
did
are
was you did kept the star before
no, I got
equals.
it. This is a good example. See here, when I did the input of ID, as U, right? There are multiple
Mm-hmm.
inputs. One is with UN underscore fill. So you can see the number here. It says 1 of 4. You see
Mm-hmm.
that? Search. So there are 4 elements with starting with U. One is this. The next one is probably this username. Third one is why is this coming? Okay, this probably giving anything with you. See, even the my domain suffix and the community suffix is also coming. Okay, so the point you need to understand here is that always you need not give the whole thing, whole I mean the static locators. You can even give dynamic locators by telling anything that starts with this, anything that ends with this, or anything that has in it, things like that. Are you getting the
Yeah.
point?
Star gives starting, ending, or middle. Any value it will return
Yeah,
star.
that's how it is working right now. I actually thought it was only giving starts with,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but looks like it is giving everything. But whatever you do, see, in real world scenario, you would not be told like you don't even see the application and you have to develop it, test it, right? You would have an application in hand and you would be developing it, writing test cases for it. Do you agree?
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah. So when you have that option, always what you can do is you can open up your application, see what are all the available options, and then decide what is needed. I'm just giving you these options are available.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So now I have shown you one way of searching for this, right? Here, in the same thing, what I'll do is see. Let me do enter again. It goes here. For this name is UN, correct? For this input, are you able to see that?
Yes,
Yeah.
Vinod.
For this name is UN, correct?
Yes.
And for the next one, name is what? Username. For the next one, name is not there at all. And the next one as well, there is no name at all, correct? So what I'll do here, followed by this, I can say name equal to maybe UN and search. Now you'll get just one result. You see that? It will select only one because your first part of it was giving you 4. After that, I have added some more filter criteria dynamically, which is going to give me just one result. Do you see that point?
Yes.
So maybe you can write use cases like select particular text box which is having some content in it, something, some attribute, or maybe you can say something which has having a name as something, or which is having the width as something, whatever. All this
Uh,
I'm giving here, ID and name, whatever we are using, those are HTML attributes, right?
Vinod, sorry to disturb. Can you copy the text what is there and show it in some notepad
Yeah.
or something? Because it's not at all visible. It's very small.
Is it visible now? Is it visible
No.
now?
No.
No, Vinod,
You
it's
can
very
just copy it
difficult to
and
read
show
the
either it just copy
search
it in the
box.
ID or somewhere.
Give me a
Yeah,
minute.
like search box.
Yeah, I can copy it and show, or give me 1 minute. So I have just done some small changes to my preferences. So now you should be able to see it. Let me zoom in. Yeah. Now do you see it?
It's the
Yes,
same.
no?
The same, Vinod.
I paused it. Yeah, 1 minute. I did. Is it good now?
It's the
Is-
same.
We don't. It's the same. It was not changing at all.
Are you able to see the zoomed option?
No.
You
No,
see it happening?
No, no.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think we need to come close to our monitor and watch that letters. Then only we can
Even
able
though
to see.
the
Oh, I think
syntax is not.
actually because I'm using a single button, it's not working. Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So initially we had done only this much, correct? Initially we had done only input ID equal to U, correct?
Yes, Vinod.
Then I did a name equal to UN. So what this did was, if you remember here, I showed you without this name, we had four options, correct?
Yes.
So we had one of four here. Uh, just a quick question. Uh, I'll just stop the recording. Was it
Okay.
actually, yeah, when I did a search for input of ID star equal to U, right? It
Yes.
actually result four times. So you can see currently the second item of four is selected. Do you see that?
Yes, Vinod.
So you would see options like that. But within the dynamic itself, you can specify something even next level. So you can say like next attribute is name, and I want name to be UN, which is true for only one. So what I'll do, I'll take this screenshot and copy this much. I'll paste it in my Word again. Okay, now
So
see it.
Vinod,
Yeah, yeah,
so we are searching for the item through this search, right? Taking the
yeah.
code from the
Yeah.
script, we
Mm-hmm.
are finding out. Oh,
So basically, what we are trying to do is, what is our Eclipse code doing? It is doing a driver dot find element, and
yeah,
within the find element, we are giving what should it find for. So whatever
yeah,
I'm tying the search here, if you give in the find element, it will do the same.
yeah.
So whatever I have done here, this XPath, if you just go it and put it into that find element, it will work.
Then how this is useful? Just only to find the web element,
Yes,
but in the
ultimately that
script
is
again we
your
have to
main
write, right?
keyword. See, that is your main key, right? Now, if you want to do a select here, see, if you want to do a select of this, right click inspect, okay? Before what did we do? We right clicked, copy, and we copied the CSS selector,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And what did the CSS selector give us? It gave us hash this username, correct?
Yeah.
And if you do that, it used to select this item.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to teach you how to dynamically give that, even without copying, or if you want to select all the four items, how would you copy the XPath of all the four items? You cannot, correct?
Yeah, but
So
for that you need to know the attributes of that web element, right?
yeah,
Unless
you
you
can
know.
obviously see the attributes of any element, right? You can right click inspect and see the attributes. All I'm trying to tell you is, after you see the attribute, if you decide to do different operations, say for example in a drop down, okay, if you want to do things like any drop down having, okay, let's go back to our drop down example. That was a better example here in this. Maybe let's go to the other thing. Let me try to recall what was it. Okay, let me go to Selenium day one. Here, we remember we had a drop down. Where is our drop down? Drop down, radio button, drop down. Yeah, no, not drop down, radio button. Sorry. You remember this example?
Yeah.
And do you remember we did? Okay, let me uncomment this here. First, we open this URL, and here, if you remember, we had inspected this element, but in this case it was we searched for anything with input as uh, software, I mean the name as software, correct?
Yeah.
So we did by name software. So this was returning four elements, correct?
Yeah.
And we selected the third element.
Yeah.
So you agree with this use case?
Yeah. Adobe
Similarly,
Photoshop.
you could have another use case which has uh, similar attributes, and you want to search for all the elements with that particular attribute. In this case, we did by name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it is not always straightforward. Sometimes you may want to search the element with see how do I put it? With this particular text name or something.
But here,
Okay,
Vinod, the common name is software. The value is different, right? Value Excel.
okay. Give me a minute. Let me try it first. Let me just confirm if this is working fine before we discuss. It is opening Salesforce. Why is it opening Salesforce? That is because we have forgotten to comment this. Let me rerun this. Okay, it has selected Adobe Photoshop, correct? Yes, no.
Yes.
Now I'll just close this. Coming back here, it had selected Adobe Photoshop because we did a three dot click. That's why it has selected Adobe Photoshop. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Now I have not done it, so whatever I'm going to do now may fail, but still let me try to do it. This time what I'll do, give me a minute. Let me choose a Firefox. Here let me right click, inspect, and this time right click, copy. Maybe we can do a CSS selector. Let's see what is copied. This time I'll do paste it here. No, this is not going to help us much. Give me a minute. I'm just investigating what are options available. We did a copy of CSS selector, CSS path, XPath. Paste it here. This is also not good. Okay. Next is
Vinod, are you trying this in CSS selector? Like dynamically you're trying to give it?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm just thinking it might fail. But that's okay. We'll try it. Okay. I'll just comment this so that you are aware of the real code.
You
I'll
can
just
give value attribute also, right, Vinod? Like appending to the ID or something.
we have a
To
selector.
select.
We just have name as a selector here as a locator. We don't have a value here. So what we can do is instead of that we can go with CSS selector,
CSS selector, you can give value. Yeah.
and here I can say I want everything which is what was the type? It was the input. Every input, okay, and it should have a value as Excel. Okay, let's say for that I need to give value equal to. Is this correct?
But
And
it
this
will also return other one with a value Excel. Excel. Yeah.
there's only one with value Excel, I think. The others are with QBP and other things.
Okay. Then it will work.
Okay, so before doing that, let me do name equal to just to confirm if everything is correct. Okay, otherwise we'll get confused. First, let's go one by one. Let's go back to the previous one. Previously, we used by name software. Now we are using by CSS selector, but name equal to software. Is this all right? Shall we try this?
Yes, Vinod.
Maximized. Yeah, it worked. Alright, just to confirm, I'll just close all my Firefox. It,
I think it has selected Adobe Photoshop, like the third element it has selected.
yeah. So what I'll do, I'll just select a different item here. I'll just do maybe one and run it just to confirm that my code is right.
You can change it in the if condition. Get one.
Yeah, the if condition let it fail, I don't mind. But you can see
Okay.
quick box is selected now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what I'll do, I'll go back here. Now this name, I can say name star, and I can say anything that starts with software. Okay. And what I'll do here, I'll put a console systems out. I'll say we have matching criteria equal to men's count equal to, I'll say plus RP list dot count dot length. What is it? Dot size. Okay, this is okay. We'll see how much is printed every time. The second item is selected. Let's go back to our console to see what was printed here. Yeah, totally four are matching. You see this here? Yes, no, Deepika?
Yes, Vinod.
Alright. Um, okay, so now you could see that because of the star, it is able to get all the four still. Correct?
Yes.
Now, my point was next, if I want to do anything like, let me close this up. Let me go back to my, yeah. And now, all these four elements have the name as software, but each have its own value. So let me try to choose value of QVP. Okay, shall we do that?
Yes.
So for that, what I'll do is after this is ending, I'll write another square braces. I'll say value equal to QBP. Okay. This time, let me click the 0 because I'm pretty sure this is going to return only one item, and this will throw error. So I'll just make this 0 also, because the length of it is going to be just one. Correct. So let me bring it up. The page is loading. Optimized. Okay, QVP is selected. Let's see our console. Yeah, you can see that second element item is selected and we have just one matching. You see that?
Yes.
So the point here is not to explain this particular syntax. The point here is you need to be aware that we can do dynamic selections like this. Okay, dynamic selections, using your common sense, you can come up with the different selections and do it. So what I mean is, we go back to the same product here. If your use test case is to select this QuickBook Pro, all right, you can either go with the say, come to the stage. Yeah, if you want to select this QuickBook Pro, right, you can do right click inspect. You can write your use case telling that okay, search for everything with software and select the second item. Correct? Can you do that?
Yes.
But what if tomorrow they add one more option, and your second option becomes a third option, and your use case is failing? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. Srinath, can you repeat the test case again? I didn't get it.
See, now your test case is to select the checkbox which reads as QuickBooks Pro. That is your test case.
Your voice is breaking, Vinod.
What is breaking? Give me a minute. Okay. Um, 1 minute. Okay. Is my voice better now?
Yes, Vinod.
All right. Okay. Now your use case is actually to select this particular uh, QuickBooks Pro checkbox or ready button. That is your use case. Okay. Now, how do you achieve? You have multiple options to achieve it. Correct? Do you agree? First point.
Yes.
One of the option is get all the software inputs and select the second one. Correct?
Yes.
That will work fine. But if someone adds um, another radio button in future, that is the developer, he may your option may become a third option all of a sudden, right? And
Okay.
your use case will start to fail. So now your common sense tells that, okay, let's not go with that way. Let's go with the value, or
Okay.
maybe selector which says value equal to PVP. Correct?
Yes.
There could be a scenario where the name in future gets changed. QuickBooks gets called something like QBooks, something. They may change it, right? Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah. So even that will fail. So
Mm.
there is another option. You can say where name is equal to software, value is equal to QBP, and some other attribute.
Type equal
Some
to.
or something we can say like value starts with Q. Even that will work. Correct?
Okay.
So the point here is you can, using different options in locator, you can select the web element in thousands of ways. Not one, not two, thousands of ways. All right. Now the
Yes.
point here is uh, which is the best way. There is no hard and fixed rule. Based on your scenario, based on your test case, you have to come up with a common sense which will work fine, which will be safe. Okay, there could be a drop down which has just one element or two element, and the items are not going to change at all. For example, if there is a drop down of states in India, okay, Deepika, are you still with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
states will change.
yeah, but how quickly? Do they
Yeah,
change every day, or do they change once in 10 years?
I'm just.
Yeah, that's what my point is. That, see, nothing is going to be same right in this universe. Everything will change. The what, especially the software product, keeps changing. Correct? But how often do they change? And keeping that intelligence in your mind, you have to come up with what makes sense. Okay. See, these many days, our Bangalore was called Bangalore. All of a sudden, after 60 years, they changed Bangalore to Bengaluru.
Yeah.
Right? So many things change. So can we say something like anything that starts with the B or anything that starts with the B, will it work? No, right? So there are scenarios you may have to change your code, but keep using your common sense. You have to choose the right way. I cannot guarantee you this is the right way. Are you getting what I mean here?
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yes.
in writing this test case, you have to come up with your some kind of a, I would say, common sense. Nothing more than that. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Just use your common sense, see what holds true. All I'm telling you is there are different ways of approaches to it. It could be by ID, by name, by type, by value, any attribute. I have explained you during the HTML that what is the attribute, what is the tag name, what is the uh, attribute value and all that, right? Using any of those, you can do selections. My point is that, okay? Ultimately, how do you do automation? Step one, see, I'll just write it down so that it is clear to you. Let me go back to my Eclipse. Now here, I just write down the steps. Let me go back to day 2 and write down the steps here. Steps to perform any automation. Okay. First step, get the open the URL. Correct. I want yes no. I want it to be interactive. Everyone is silent today. Okay. First is you open URL. Second is you get the web element. The web element could be a button, could be a text, could be a radio button, could be a checkbox, could be a link, could be anything in the web page. Okay. Third option is perform action on it, and keep repeating the step 2 and 3. You can perform anything on the web. Do you agree?
Yes.
First, you will enter the username, password, then click on the login button, then verify if it says successful, welcome to Facebook or something, or does it say username and password does not match. You will verify that. If username and password satisfies, if you go to the login, then go to my accounts page. Then after going to my accounts page, check your profile photo, change your profile photo. Then after you change your profile photo, come back to your my accounts page, and in your my accounts page, check if your marriage status is updated as single or is it updated as married. All these things are test cases within Facebook. Do you agree?
Right. Yes.
Now whatever I told you within this short 20 seconds, right, can be achieved with these 3 steps. Open Facebook URL, click on this, get particular element, click on that, get particular element, type in something in that, get particular element, right click on that. So these are the things we'll perform, right? So step 2 and 3 are important. So to get the step 2, there are many ways to get it. You can get it by the XPath, you can get it by the ID, you can get it by the CSS selector, right? Are you getting the whole picture of how Selenium works?
Yes.
Anyone still finding it difficult? Please raise your hand. Oh, good.
Yeah, maybe we need to practice.
Yeah, definitely. You need to practice. I do agree. We will have still some more classes with more examples. Okay. So coming to the point of the states. Now, if now our point 2 says get the web element. Now, if the web element, based on say, let's take a scenario of number of states in India. Okay, you could have that particular drop down can have a ID. Okay, the ID could say something like Indian states or something. Then by all means always take the by ID as your locator, because hopefully down the line, even 100 years or 200 years, they don't change the ID. All right. If your there is a next option is go with the something with the label or something. Okay, maybe that could change down the line. See, I cannot help you in each and every line. I'm just trying to teach you to swim. You have to do the swimming, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm trying to give you some use cases as some meaningful examples. That's all. I cannot guarantee this is what is going to happen in your Selenium, right? That will be your role. Okay, so now I'm just explaining the different locators and location strategies. We have so far seen almost like 50% of it. Still there are many more. Okay, and now we were actually discussing about dynamic. The reason we were discussing dynamic is because you would probably come up with options. Okay, let me some of the options I told you now, like get everything with starting with the U and then name as UN. Did you see that? It doesn't make sense here, but in your project it could make sense. Are
Okay.
you getting the point? Here it may look like why are we doing all this circus to do such a simple thing, right? But in reality, here, of course, for this use case, we are doing all unnecessary things. But in your real project, that could be the right way to do it. What I mean is, say, I'm just trying to come up with another example. Once you log into your Facebook, right? Somewhere on the right top side, you will see your username, correct?
Yes.
Maybe that's read something like um, welcome to Facebook, Vinod. It may read something like that. Assume that it is reading something like that. Okay, let me show you. It may read welcome Vinod, right? As soon as I log in, it may read this, right?
Yes.
Now, it could be that this is a separate text and this is a separate, I mean, this is a separate label. This is a separate label. This label keeps changing the value. This label always remains constant. Okay, and this label, for example, has a ID. I'm just coming at the example.
Okay.
This may not have an ID, okay, but your use case may be to verify what is there in this. Is it Vinod or is it something else? That is your use case. Okay,
Okay.
now you cannot select this by ID, correct? But you can of course select welcome by ID, correct?
Yes.
Now in this case, you can use the dynamic selector, which is called as following. Remember this following and preceding?
Yeah.
So far I told you starts with and contains. Starts with is that star, and contains is nothing but we did a n and all those things, right? I'll show you some examples as and when it happens. Well, there are many ways. Okay, I'll show you another example. Give me a minute. Yeah. Can you give me 1 minute? Can you give me 1 minute, please? Deepika, are you still with me?
Yes, Vinod. Still here.
Oh yeah, got it. Yeah. So yeah, we were telling, we were talking about dynamics, right? Dynamic operators. So uh, let's do another example which will work. Okay, let me try it out. Give me a minute. So what I want to do is I want to go to this example. Yeah, let me copy this code. I'll put it into this entry here. Okay, paste it here. Okay, and then we try the definitions. Let me copy this further. Yeah, I don't even have that code. We are doing the two on Mac, right? I'll copy this line, put it here, and I'll copy this line, it's here. Okay, I'll just do this much. Okay, so much is good. We created a WebDriver for Mac, Gecko, Firefox. Okay, then we are opening this. Uh, Initially we tried this is working. Now we'll try a new location strategy. Okay. I'll tell you how to do it. We have an input. Okay. Let me remove this. I showed you this is also working, right? Let me comment this line and let me copy paste. Okay. Now we'll do another strategy. We'll do input and let me do sorry, not an input. This time we'll search for label.
Are we working on following right now?
No, I want to give an example for contains.
Okay.
Okay. I can do something like contains.
But contains the same as star, no? No?
Yes, but I'm just showing you a different syntax of doing the same. Okay.
Okay.
Please hold on for your
Okay.
questions. Okay. Now you take this much. I'm just verifying my code. Label. This should be good. This is right. Yeah. This is the syntax. So we are actually looking for label, any label that has a username in it. Any label. Okay. And let me first see if this works fine. Let me copy this. Go to our Firefox Developer Edition. It's here. There's nothing here. I think we have to do it here. Sorry. It's in one uh, actually this should work. One second. There are 5 labels. In that 5 label, I want contains. Access. Well, anyone knows why this is not working? Any idea?
Are you trying XPath? XPath with contains?
Yeah.
It should give star of contains attribute at the rate attribute equal to some value.
Star of contains, right?
Yes.
Inside the label.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the whole thing? I'll just type it out.
It's like
Starts with the stars.
it starts with backslash of stars. It's XPath, right? Backslash of stars of contains of
This is a like
contains.
this.
Yes. In braces, you should give like round braces. You should give at the rate of ID some value of it. ID some value. Basically, you are splitting the XPath, right? And then you should append to the next XPath also.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Vinod, I couldn't see the screen. Really, what you're doing in the search box. It was
Okay.
maybe in
I
angry.
actually tried something like this. Let me give you a minute. Give me a
Is it
minute.
not working?
I was doing
Vinod,
something like
after contains which bracket you are using
this.
before @ID?
Is this correct?
Vinod, Vinod, I
Yeah,
guess
this is
contains is a syntax for XPath, right? Dynamic XPath we'll use contains.
Mm-hmm.
CSS also we do use it. For CSS we use star or that cap symbol.
Yeah, actually for CSS we use star and
Cap
the symbol
symbol and
above.
dollar we use.
Yeah, but for XPath also this should work, right? But
For XPath it
the
works.
search is actually dynamic. It will pick based on XPath or CSS. The search window that Firefox thing. It should
Yeah, it
work.
will.
Okay. I think it's getting late.
Actually,
Maybe what we'll do, we'll close the classroom here. Okay. I'll get back to you on the dynamic selector again.
Vinod, as I know, like this is like appending an XPath. Like if you have some XPath which is abstract, like you don't know where it will goes, you know the
Mm-hmm.
subclasses. So if you just append the one like a star and contains the ID or something to
Mm-hmm.
the subclass part, it will route it to the XPath, actual XPath. So this is a syntax work for that. I don't know what it's.
Actually, I remember using this
Uh,
with old Firefox. With the old Firefox,
I
we used to have something called as a fire path, but that is no
yeah,
more
yeah, I
existing in
think.
the latest Firefox.
No, no, even for new Firefox version, we have a Firebug and Firepath, I guess. We have those add-ons.
Is it?
No, Firebug is not there, I guess. I use like
Oh,
this, but double slash and I will give
I
tag
actually
name
didn't try
instead of
that
giving star.
fire path. Uh, I didn't get it actually. It says this add-on is not compatible with your version.
For 64, it's not working.
In the developer edition also it is the same.
No, this is.
Uh,
It's not
let me not
available
confuse
for the
others.
latest
One minute.
version.
One minute. Let me not confuse others. Okay. So people who are new to Selenium, right? Don't get confused. It's very simple. Just that there are some changes in the version of Firefox and things are not working. Okay. So previously it used to be something like this, where you had XPath, where you can give the search term and it used to select. So that time, whatever I showed used to work. Unfortunately, with the latest Firefox, it is not working. So let me recheck, revisit it, and then I'll get back to you again. Is that okay?
Okay, so in that case, we know. So if we do the same thing in Chrome, it should work.
In Chrome as well. Let me try it and then confirm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, anyways, Vinod, but the contains one we wrote
Mm-hmm.
only when some part of exchange does not change, some part keeps on changing. In that case, it
Mm-hmm.
will works.
Yeah,
Contains.
yeah, that is absolutely right. But
So the part
I
actually doesn't
I
change, right? We need to
see,
append back.
see, Samira, 1 minute, Samira. The reason I'm not confirming that is because I don't want to confuse others. Because if I
Okay,
tell
okay,
something
that's
today and if I tell something in the next class, it won't be good. So let me get back to you on that. That will be good.
okay, that's fine, Vinod. Thank you.
So yeah, others who are new to Selenium, please ignore that for now. I mean, ignore the dynamic selectors for now. Work on only the selectors whatever I have covered. Like we did text box, radio button. Also the drop down for some reason it was not working, but I still want you to try. Google search the drop down, and I also do actions like click, select, and all those actions whatever we covered in today's classroom, right? Please try that. Okay, then yeah, we'll get back in the next class. Is that okay?
Also, Vinod, I have a question. Like, right now, the Firefox and Chrome, whatever we are using, we don't have to install Firebug and Firepath at all, right?
Yeah, that's right. In the latest version, we need not have it. So I'm looking for alternatives actually. I'm still
Okay.
looking out for them. Yeah. So I'll get back to you on those points. All right.
Okay.
One has a chat. Give me a minute. Yeah. Dikshit, can you send the link to everyone, or maybe ignore it for now? It's not needed. Ignore it.